Hello, it is April 6th, 2022. This is As the World Burns. I'm your host, Randall Burns. Today's topic is the Arcimoto MLM slash Platform 2 and e-mobility slash wheelchair applications. At a talk related to the introduction of the MLM, Arcimoto CEO Mark Frohnmayer mentioned that the MLM slash Platform 2 would introduce new takes on things, not only of cycling, but tut-tuts, delivery drones, and wheelchair slash e-mobility applications. Now, this is nothing entirely new. Okay, there does exist right now. This is a bike wheelchair from Walmart, and I'll put a link in the description. But you can tell just by looking at this, the level of engineering involved in this is nothing approaching the MLM slash Platform 2. Nothing close. This was just something thrown together by relatively off-the-shelf parts. That isn't to say that it's bad, but it is not a big run item, and they are using off-the-shelf parts to get it out at an affordable price. And so it just is what it is. But with Platform 2, we have a whole new set of off-the-shelf parts that can add a whole lot of functionality. Now, here is the artwork given in the talk. You notice the wheelchair didn't quite make it in there, but one real important thing from this photo was the delivery drone on the far right. Now, once you're talking delivery drones, we're talking FSD, autonomy, electric brakes, electric steering, and so it means that that's going to have to be done sooner or later. Now, the stock MLM actually takes you a long ways in this direction. One of the important features I want to point out is that because there is no chain, the driving mechanism or the Peloton pedals really could be placed anywhere. It's just as easy to make it into a recumbent as it is a more conventional seated bike. I mean, we're looking at a relatively easy engineering problem to move the generator from being foot-driven to being hand-driven, which is one of the things for a wheelchair. Now, here is an example of the state-of-the-art of a hand trike on today's market. Again, the engineering level is light years behind the MLM. It's being delivered at an affordable using off-the-shelf parts, but they're restricted by that, and that introduces a lot of restrictions and capability. This model, for example, I don't know if it would really work for something that, say, might actually be driven into a store, for example. Now, the MLM, as it now exists in prototype, is planned to be all-wheel drive. That introduces some real off-roady capabilities, and it's also full suspension, which means it can handle a lot of terrain that other wheelchairs are simply not built to handle. You can get off-road wheelchairs, but they're an expensive item and they require a lot of hardware to use in a logistically practical sense. They also tend to be small run applications. The MLM slash Platform 2 has the possibility of being an all-in-one application for this class of user. They can go to the store, driving themselves on a bike lane or a road where bicycles are legal to ride, go into the store, get what they need, get back home, all on their own steam without an aid and without a need for the logistical complications of taking a wheelchair in and out of a wheelchair accessible vehicle. All while getting very badly needed exercise, which is a challenge for people that may not have full use of their legs. And also keep in mind is that some of these people are not fully disabled. They may only lack use of their legs part of the time. And this is a full-time vehicle that's practical as they need it. I personally had an episode where I was having gout attacks due to a medication reaction for about a year and a half, 2 years. I was having gout attacks every other week. So I had episodes where I was not really able to drive because of gout. Had I had a hand-driven vehicle like this, it would have come in really handy. But it's not something where I was fully disabled and permanently disabled on this. So a vehicle that could be easily switched between hand-driven and foot-driven would have been coming really handy in this situation, and something where I could have gotten into a store, okay, even when I was having painful arthritic symptoms. Okay, now my only connection to Arcimoto is as a shareholder and somebody whose comments have been replied to a few times on Twitter by Mark Frohnmayer. But Arcimoto is one of my bigger positions, and I think that if they play their cards right here, it will become even yet a bigger position for me. I think if Arcimoto plays their cards correctly, they could easily get 10 to 20% the value that you see in Tesla right now. What Mark has said is that his target is between the bike and the car. And there's a lot of value in that market niche. But, and this is the really key part, the value is not in making slightly better versions of existing vehicles. As I showed in my Tesla valuation video, Tesla does not trade like a car company. Only a small portion of the value of Tesla can really be associated with how it competes with existing car companies. Most of the value is in the electronics, the software, the AI group. Now, that little drone on the right needs full self-driving and autonomy. It's already shown that it has something that looks like LiDAR there. I think that 90% of the immediate value can be obtained by simply camera sensors like Tesla's using on their vehicles and getting something that's a level 2 autonomy, similar to what Tesla has right now operating, has been operating for some while, like the Model 3 and Model Y. But it's a question of applying it to this this niche market of micro EVs, wheelchairs, and e-mobility devices. And that will need customization. It will need collection of its own database and will need training. But that can start right away with the MLM in its niche. That, in my opinion, is a key part of maximizing shareholder value. When you look at the most valuable companies out there right now that are newer companies, they include Google, Amazon, and Tesla. They all have huge databases that act as their moat. Now, I go into that more in my Tesla's moats video, which I'll include a link to in the description. Now, Arcimoto has a real immediate opportunity doing that in their niche with the MLM. Basically recording the driving record and accident records and driving experiences of an entirely new class of vehicle. And the thing about these neural nets is they have to be retrained every time you put them someplace new. They don't have any common sense. You cannot rely on them for that. And they rely on really, really big databases to work well. And I say that as somebody that has real experience with that market going back more than 25 years in the really early phases of the development of this. The safety features of autonomy may be better appreciated in this market than in the because the needs are more urgent. Right now, we're talking a class of people for whom this MLM-based wheelchair/mobility device means they get real independence immediately in a practical sense. Many may not qualify for a driver's license. This may be their only option to be able to get out on the road by themselves and to take care of their own very basic human needs. And autonomy is important because sometimes we're dealing with levels of cognitive impairment that may come and go. They may not be entirely safe even in a bike route to themselves without it. And I think that even with the level 2 autonomy brought back down to the smaller scale right now, I think that Arcimoto can have a huge win very rapidly, both in terms of public perception and increasing shareholder value. I think that the MLM will be a hit, at least a short-term hit without it. I think that getting this data mode in place could increase shareholder value by an order of magnitude if the evidence that I see with the Tesla trading is any indication. This is Randall Burns signing off for today. Thank you for joining. Please do hit the like button. Please subscribe to the channel. Suggestions for improvements in future episodes are welcome. I plan another episode on cycling safety and autonomy. So I look forward to seeing you there too. You take care. Bye for now.